Alright, Schlockmeister fans, a request from Marty, continuing with the Porky's trilogy. It's Porky's II the next day. Let's watch. As the opening credits run, they show scenes from Porky's. The morning after losing his virginity, Pee-wee struggles to get a boner. National Geographic helps.
You haven't had too much action lately.
Pee-wee and Wendy.
Is that so?
In fact, if I don't get next to a man soon, I'm gonna be in real trouble.
She's just teasing him.
You guys are as funny as a rubber crutch. I mean, these guys are pretty
Pee-wee's looking for an easy lay.
Do that. Right. So anyway, I was wondering if you know of a broad that's a real pushover. Somebody a real idiot can score with.
Hell, man, that's easy. Wendy Williams.
Here.
Of course, Wendy's his girl now, he thinks.
I was asking around who was the biggest pushover in school, and you know what everybody said?
Wendy Williams?
Right.
Jeez, Pee-wee, you can't be the first time you've heard that stuff.
Turns out her reputation isn't as bad as people think.
Just that I've only wanted to 3 times.
Really?
So we find somebody else to see if we can get a gangbang going.
No way. Gangbang! Gangbang!
Whisker looks like a buttoned-up ice pop.
He found Gloria.
Breathing distance to the cemetery. You better
He's trying to get back at them for the Cherry Forever joke in the first movie.
Graveyard Gloria, the fuck of death. I got it all lined up. Now you guys want to act like men.
And here is the aforementioned Graveyard Gloria, working at a stripper show at the carnival.
Okay? Night. Night, Gloria.
See you later, boy.
Shit. They're definitely gonna shit. Definitely.
So they've got the scam in place. And so the other guys get to Gloria to make a new deal with her to double prank Pee-wee.
Oh, well, any friend of yours is a friend of ours.
The gang is putting on a play with a bunch of Shakespeare acts in it.
It looks great, Pee-wee.
Nice boy, buddy.
But the good Reverend Bubba Flavel thinks Shakespeare is pornography.
Tell us, Reverend Flavel. We're closing you down, Morris.
Beulah.
Closing you down. On whose authority? God. His hand by
Mr. Carter, the principal, disagrees with Flavel.
And my bowels were moved for him. Song of Solomon, chapter 5. Devil can cite scripture for his purpose. He can cite Shakespeare too, Reverend Flavel. What says you, Mr. Carter? Get the flush out of here!
So Gloria has come to the graveyard.
Step. I want to feel your arms around me. Your lips on mine.
Then Gloria pretends to die from excitement.
What? What? Where? There!
So Pee-wee thinks she's dead.
Steve! It was a joke. It was just a joke.
A joke? Good God, Pee-wee, there's a woman lying dead over there.
What's going on?
The prank continues.
Holy shit! Bye-bye, Pee-wee! See you later! What are you guys doing?
Turns out the KKK doesn't want the Seminole Indian playing Romeo.
What is it?
These clowns.
Yeah? Didn't we tell you?
Bubba Flavel doesn't like it either.
Boy, to cut off funds for this extravaganza immediately.
Well, Reverend, we're not the school board.
That's Beulah on the toilet. They decided to play a prank on her too.
Get it out of here! Get it out of here! Put it in the goddamn hole!
Here, Pee-wee. She's a friend of mine.
The mayor says he's going to help them.
Flavel's got a few votes under his thumb. It's not many, but it's enough to scare a couple of my fellow commissioners. So, what's the easy thing to do? We make Flavel happy. So
the commission makes Flavel happy by taking the issue to the school board.
We can't trust the mayor.
Reverend Flavel's petition to stop the Shakespeare Festival. 5,000 signatures.
5,000?
Oh, 5,000. And every one of them prepared to vote against you if things don't go their way.
Set up a meeting, Flavel.
They have a blooper in the play when the sword breaks on one of them. So they substitute.
Of English literature are unfit to be performed by our students and too indecent to be viewed by you.
He's basically informing them. It's not his plan, though.
Friends, I assure you, we have not yet begun to fight. Voted unanimously to bring this corruption to a halt.
The mayor.
Warrant apply to all plays by the drama club or only this one?
My word applies to all plays by any drama club, any time, any place. Blood must stop.
The KKK supports Flavel. Beulah does not. Turns out the mayor and his cronies watch stag films that were given to him by Bubba Flavel, and the boys find out about it and record there.
You kids, that's your speed.
Excuse me. Have you met my friend, Annette? Y'all go home and screw your wires on. You might have to wake him up and tell him what you're doing, though.
So with one of the boys in costume, they lead them in here.
Howdy.
The Klan beat up one of the Seminole Indians earlier.
Say what?
This is revenge.
Well, actually, we had something slightly different in mind.
Oh, yeah?
They beat up John Henry, and now John Henry and his people are getting revenge. Meanwhile, the mayor asked Wendy out on a date to a secret location, and she's going to get revenge on him.
Please, madame, please, what's the problem?
I happen to be the guest of Big Bob Gebhardt, County Commissioner of Seward County. Stupid, don't you speak French?
Yeah, oui.
Well, get me a drink. It's my birthday today. I'm 17 today. Golly, 17.
They stripped the Klansmen and shaved their heads and made them crash this rally for Bubba Flavel's. And then they played that audio.
Verily I say this to thee.
Holy shit! Look at the dick on that son of a bitch.
Meanwhile, Wendy's having her fun.
Bobby, if you get my Jerry again, you saucy little devil, you can't get a girl's Jerry twice.
And then she fake pukes. And our film ends with a few newspaper headlines telling us that the good guys won and the bad guys lost. And the Shakespeare play was put back on. Alright, let's talk about this movie, Porky's II, the next day. This literally takes place the next day after the events in Porky's took place. Stars pretty much all the same cast with the exception of Porky, Chuck Mitchell. He wasn't in this one, although there were some clips at the beginning of the scene, or the beginning of the movie where they showed some clips from the previous movie. Anyway, in this one, the boys from Angel Beach are back, and they're all involved in this Shakespeare play. It's not really a play about Shakespeare. It's like it's several plays, little bits and pieces. It's like a Shakespeare buffet. There's a few little pieces of this play, that play, whatever. It's like the Shakespeare experience they're kind of doing. Well, suddenly this guy named Bubba Flavel, he's like this Southern Baptist minister type, gets a bug in his ass about Shakespeare being pornographic, and he decides he teams up with Beulah Bellbricker, actually, and they want to shut the play down. Of course, boys from Angel Beach don't want that to happen. The principal is on the boys' side, on the boys and girls' side, actually. And then the mayor gets involved. The mayor is has an election coming up. He's afraid that he might not get elected. Bubba Flavel comes up with a petition with 5,000 names on the signature, blah, blah, blah. So he says he's going to side with the kids from Angel Beach, but instead he actually sides with Bubba Flavel. He gets, like, at least temporarily canceled, that kind of thing. Then later on, the KKK gets involved. Turns out the lead in one of the parts of the play is the guy who plays Romeo is played by a Seminole Indian. They don't like that at all. Remember, this takes place in the 50s, so not a lot of tolerance back then. So they get involved as well, and they kind of align themselves with Bubba Flavel. Although Beulah Ballbreaker, to her defense, says, "Hey, we don't endorse the KKK, that sort of thing." She's against that, so she kind of breaks away with him at the end there. But ultimately, turns out the mayor and some of his people are kind of shady, and they actually watch stag films on the side, and the boys from Angel Beach find out about it, and they actually record them watching these things. It says they have some damning audio. Apparently, Bubba Flavel gave them the movie. And then they also get revenge on the mayor by Wendy. She gets asked out on a date by the mayor, and she decides to play it up and act like a floozy, an underage floozy. She pretends to puke and causes a real ruckus. And ultimately, at the end, that audio recording of them watching the porn movie, the stag movie, is played at this rally, and everything turns out, we see headlines from newspapers. The play gets put back on, the Shakespeare Experience thing, and Bubba Flavel gets renounced, and everything is back to normal. Everything is good. End of story, right? Anyway, I used to rag on this movie quite a bit back in the day. And it's not as bad as I used to say it was. It's not a good movie by any means, and it's actually, I didn't laugh a whole lot. I think there were some scenes that were supposed to be funny, but on some level I kind of enjoyed it because it's very nostalgic. These Porky's movies are for me when I was a youth watching these things. Even though this one's not that great, there's a few nude scenes scattered throughout. Not as much nudity as was in the first one. In fact, there's actually more male nudity in this one than there was female nudity. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, the guys in this film, they're looking, oh God, I think I looked them up. Some of them were like 28, 29 years old, so they weren't high school age kids anymore. They weren't in the first one either, but whatever, right? So anyway, like I said, most of the entire cast is back, and they did make another sequel to this, Porky's Revenge, and then there is actually a fourth movie. Ooh, I didn't know about that until recently, actually. Anyway, check it out. It's called Porky's II, The Next Day. I'll leave a link down below to the Blu-ray if you want to buy it on Amazon, and please do buy it on Amazon. And let me know what you think about it. So go watch this movie, Porky's II, The Next Day. Bye.